Grymt. So, welcome to Standout Coffee.
Thank you.
And hope you had a pleasant drive.
Yeah, it was a good drive.
Was it okay?
Yeah, it was okay. Not that much traffic.
Yeah.
Still summer, you know.
Still summer. So, people probably know who I am, but who are you?
Yeah. I am Fredrik Alpstedt. I used to run 2 different coffee shops, one in Blekinge and one in Kristianstad. Now I am the founder of Kaffe Sverige and Swedish Specialty Coffee Camp, and recently I opened a barista school called Baristaskolan.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell me more about everything. Where do we start? Kaffe Sverige.
Yeah, we can start with Kaffe Sverige. The idea about Kaffe Sverige is that, you know, I live in a really small village down in Blekinge called Nogersund, and if you're into specialty coffee, you don't have anybody.
No.
The closest place was like 30 kilometers from my home. So it was half an hour drive, but just one place. So how do people that live on the countryside get involved and get the community with the specialty coffee? So that was the idea, but now it's just more of a hub where I have collected some of the roasteries and some of the coffee bars in Sweden.
That's super cool. But you've been active on internet, both like on Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, you do interviews and stuff. Yeah, which is super inspiring.
Thank you.
And you were before us, so that's good.
Yeah, we've been talking for a long while to get this interview together.
And this is
from
actually
both sides.
Yeah, it's actually a collaboration interview because you were like, "Could we do a podcast?" And I said, "Yeah," and you said, "I'm coming up. Let's use our stuff." Yeah. So this is gonna go up on everywhere. Yeah. For both channels.
That will be really cool.
Yeah. But you were also, we had a nice chat and dinner down at the Swedish Championships. Yeah. You were there. How did you see your role at the championship?
I'm active in the SAA Sweden. I am the marketing and I forgot my role. And communication is my role. So I was mostly there to, you know, do some social media and stuff. Yeah, so I was doing interviews with most of the competitioners.
Yeah, there were also some beautiful pictures taken during the days, and I had the opportunity to meet Lakis in Greece afterwards, and his experience. We should definitely bring him in as well for a longer chat.
It was a really cool event.
Yeah, and you who know what's next in the competition.
Next is Latte Art and Coffee and Good Spirit here in Stockholm.
I actually know that because I've been invited as a judge. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna be the rookie judge again. Yeah. But Nina is coming, so it's great.
Somebody to lean on.
Yes, that's great. I've been around Latte Art competitions, but couldn't be that hard, right? Best pattern wins, isn't it?
That's true.
Have you ever competed?
No, never.
Haven't you competed in Brewers?
No, I was supposed to complete 2 years ago, but then they canceled the competition.
I thought you competed during when like Åke Nolemo and those kings were competing.
No, you know, I only been a coffee professional now for like 5 years. Yeah, but I've been doing specialty coffee for like 15. But back in my home. Yeah. Just
that's how everyone started.
Looking up some blog posts. How will I do this and try out and trial and error.
So you came in and you were like, "Did you send my subscription?" Yeah. And I was like, "Cause I got like a notification from PostNord. I got it all." So Fredrik, here's your August subscription.
Thank you.
Without postal service.
Yeah, that's good.
It's actually what we are drinking, and this is roasted 3 days ago. Yeah. as some know, it's the Sudan Romé from Café Grange La Esperanza. Maybe it's a bit too fresh, but who cares?
Yeah.
This is an amazing coffee. And
it's always good to drink amazing coffees.
Yeah, and this flavor profile we've been working with for 3 years now with the team at Café Grange. The Sudan Romé natural is just, it's so much mint, so much eucalyptus or whatever you want to call it, and I think it's a mind-bending profile.
Yeah, it's a really nice coffee.
Yeah. We can see afterwards if Alexander can find some XO for you as well, because that is another experience.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
So where were you? You were at
we were
some
competitions
and stuff. I've seen you around for so long now.
Yeah. But my plan is when...
Yeah, what's your plan?
Yeah, I don't actually know. Yeah, but I think I'm going to be active in SCA for like 1 more year.
Yeah.
And then my term are getting to its end, and then I will see if I'm going to continue or if I should do some other coffee stuff. Yeah. Maybe focus more on my own thing.
But have you ever judged?
No, never.
That's maybe something.
Yeah.
It was such an experience. I came in as a Barista Cup and Brewers Cup judge with a lot of years on stage, but no years backstage. So it felt really good. It was like a good next step. You aren't allowed to compete for a while, which is probably good, but it was really, really, really interesting, and you learn so much to see all the pro judges helping me, carrying me around, but to kind of put words on what you feel and taste, and then calibrate that against others, and maybe see that you're not too far behind. Yeah, it was really hard with kind of the vocabulary to actually, because sometimes when I drink coffee, I get this strong feeling or like, okay, I've had this before. It tastes kind of like, but it's hard to put words on it. And to actually do that on a score sheet. And then Nina was like, okay, Oscar, what's your word on that? And I was like, oh, I don't know. But it was a great experience. And I hope I get the opportunity to maybe judge again in January. I think it's February. Yeah. Because it's earlier, because then it's in the States, right? The Worlds.
I don't remember where Worlds
I think it's something like that. That's why they're
in April, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to complete once.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Brewers Cup because that's the easiest to complete
accessible
with if you don't work active in a coffee shop anymore.
Just take this coffee and read what's on the backside, and then you will probably go far. That's a life hack.
Yeah.
So cool. Before you are allowed to ask anything, please tell us about your other path. You said Café Sverige?
Yeah,
and then
Swedish Specialty Coffee Camp. Yeah. It's an unconference in Ystad.
Yeah.
It's just a place for coffee people to come together. We have an unconference is a place where the audience are making the conference. Yeah. So we have, last year Alexander was one of the speakers, and then Per Norby from Café Räven. Yeah. And then this year we're going to have, let's see, Christian
from Morgan?
Alchemisten.
Oh, from Alchemisten.
Yeah, are going to talk about leadership. Yeah, because one of the problems in the coffee industry is that most people start a coffee business because they are passionate about coffee. Yeah. And then when they grow, they don't have the leadership skills. Yeah. So Christian are going to talk about leadership. And then Johan from Gringo are coming to speak about how is it to be the owner of a coffee farm in Colombia. Yeah. And if we are lucky, even his partner from Colombia are going to join us as well.
Of course he will. That's super cool.
Via link, of course.
And then just have everyone discussing and talking about it and being... Is it 2 days again? Or
no.
2 1 day?
We want to have 3 days this year. Wow. So we want to grow a bit.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and like workshops, and you can...
Yeah, I think we have a lot, just last year we have a lot of roastery there, and everybody want to, taste my coffee. Yeah, and so this year I'm going to have a place for all the roasteries to do cuppings.
Yeah, great.
So they can let people try the coffee that way instead.
Yeah.
So they need to be able to have some sessions.
Yeah, great. When we did the cupping with Lance now, we didn't expect it wasn't that much people, but it came 20. I thought 5 would come. So we ran out of cupping spoons. And also I think like from pre or post Corona, when I were down at Café Räven with Per Nordby, we cupped by getting an espresso cup, and you took the spoon and you poured up. Yeah. So no one had spoons, everyone had espresso cups. Yeah. And we did that with Lance as well. And I think it's a pretty good way to go forward, because then you have like the cup or cupping bowls. You can have as many as you think you need, and 1 spoon. Yeah. And you take that spoon, you scoop up your coffee, you try it, and then you just put the spoon back. Yeah. I think it's because when I see these open cuppings these days, I'm like,
yeah,
that could go wrong.
A bit in the heart.
Yeah, in the Corona heart.
Yeah.
It's like,
I remember I had some cuppings during the pandemic as well. And we did the same thing we have a glass that we pour the coffee into.
So I think it's I think it's nice also. Same as when I went down to the Danish Coffee Festival. Yeah. The first thing you get is your passport and a cup. Yeah. And then you bring that cup around to all the
that was really
brewers
nice.
And stuff.
Yeah.
So they don't have to do a million dishings, washings and stuff. So definitely maybe something to do.
I think that we would be really good off if we are taking aim at the Danish Coffee Festival and try to make that in Sweden as well, because we need every competition and every event that we can to grow the coffee scene.
But have you heard anything about the grid and stuff like that? With is it kind of happening, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Because we need, I think, as you said, like looking to our cupping yesterday or what you do, and there is a huge coffee community out there. Yeah. But so many people are stuck into brewing at home or stuck brewing at their local coffee bar. So I think if everyone can do something to bring back the coffee festival thing, then as you do, I think it's cool when you say unconference instead of conference, and because sometimes it can be kind of generic with like the big coffee brands. We need them, but in the same way, it's tough. Like, should you go with the big ones or not? And I think everyone should be there, but maybe in a it's nice that they can just do cuppings. Yeah, that's cool.
Actually, I talked to Lakis the other day, and we were speaking about if Nestlé would come over and do something, and I'm thinking about to speak about the sustainability aspect for a big company, because we call it specialty coffee camp, but it's
but they
for
do
all coffee.
coffee.
Yeah, I know, but it's for all coffee because we want the coffee industry to be bigger and better.
But I think I read or just saw something on Daily Coffee News or whatever it's called about the fair trade price that they are raising it now. Actually.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Which is a huge step. I'm not any expert into it, but I think the general price, and I think what we do at Standout is being at least a small part of making people aware that there is coffee that costs more than in the grocery store. Yeah. And 1,000 times that in some cases, which is crazy. But at least I think if they just go online and see kind of the exclusivity of the XO or Sudan Rumé or whatever, and they don't pick anything up because I understand that. And then if they go back to the grocery store and they're like, oh, it's €5 for a kilo or €7 or 8, but this is 1,300. It's like, that's kind of a big difference. Yeah. At least they are aware that there's like €10 a kilo isn't top. Like that's just start of specialty. Like the normal specialty coffee price in the stores now are, what is it, like €15 for 250, so €60 a kilo.
Yeah.
That is like 8 or 7 times the price of grocery store in some cases. That's a huge.
Actually, I had a customer when I run my coffee shop in Kristianstad who was looking at one of your coffees. I think it was priced at 300 for 100 grams. And she was, oh, what is that? And I told her, it's coffee. It's really high quality coffee, competition style coffee. And she went, oh, I would never pay that for coffee. So I got a bit mad because, so I looked up if you would do the comparison between Systembolaget and the prices for wine and then the prices for coffee, I think you would have to buy a bottle of wine, a 75 centiliter bottle of wine for 7,500 to just go into the entry level, the low levels of specialty coffee, you know, when you can buy a bag, buy a 250 grams bag for like 100 crowns.
Yeah. Did you convince her?
No, I did it after. So she was, you can't pay that for coffee.
I know. But that's fine. And that's how the industry and the community, how everything looks like. And I'm totally fine with that. But everyone I think it's has their small part of what we do. I'm just gonna quickly check the video, and then let's turn the podcast around. Do you want to ask? Om en kvart så behöver vi göra ett litet short break. Great. I know that you had some questions prepared.
Yeah, of course. I always
ask around when we're here.
You know, the thing is that we've been talking about this interview for a long while, so I was really prepared, and then we just postponed it. So now I came not that prepared, but I'm really interested about how you think about coffee and your philosophy about coffee. You have been in the industry for a really long while, both you and Alexander.
Yeah.
So how do you see on the coffee industry today? We can start with the easy question.
It's a tough one. No, but I think that we at Standout live in such a small little niche out of the world of specialty coffee.
Yeah.
And the specialty coffee is, if you look at the numbers in the US, it's 1% of the whole coffee industry. So we're like a drop in the ocean. We source and buy coffees that we think can win the worlds, which is also quite small niche in this small, even smaller world. But as I said, I don't think we're here to change the world that much. We're more, I think, what we can do with our reach online and when people actually compete and use our coffees, as I mentioned, they get aware that there's something else out there than this, what they think was the max or the best. Sometimes we can buy coffees that actually cost like 200 times the fair trade price.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And the cool thing in that is that actually ends up in the hands of the producers. When it comes to specialty, we have help from like Cat Export, sometimes Ally with the logistics, because we're not big enough to bring in containers. But still, especially when it comes to competition stuff, most of the stuff comes directly from the farmers or the producers, or they're also getting bigger and being kind of an industry, or a small business. But it's cool to see what happens on those farms, and hopefully that can spread to neighboring farms, especially when it comes to processing. I think that what we do and many others in this small niche of specialty coffee that we call competition style coffee is that the farmers or producers can have a coffee that however good they produce it, they kind of, we rarely talk about numbers like 82, 83, 84, but let's say they cap on 83 for a nice Caturra from let's say Colombia. But if they learn the art of processing, doing double yeast, anaerobic, natural fermenting in steel tanks with lactobacteria going around, they can easily get that score up to 86 or 87. I know some people are like, yeah, but that's not coffee. But for me, I love it. And I think, and then price comes with it. And I think that is one part that we really can change in the industry, to make people try these super unique coffees and make neighboring farms look at their neighbor and be like, what are those steel tanks? How do they do it? How do they process it? How do they dry it? And make them maybe try some new stuff, like better sorting, better collecting, better color measurements, better marketing.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Like, some people don't know how good coffee they actually have, and that's something that Lance talked about, like educating the farmers into actually trying their coffee and put value into what they do. So but then we live in some cases, we live in this dream world of just buying these crazy coffees and packing them in these kind of exclusive boxes. But that's our idea, and that foundation idea came to me and Alexander 2011 in Colombia. We were looking at the world finals in Bogota. Like, how can we get Alejandro Mendes coffee from El Salvador? It's like, it's non-existent, but it exists because he won the Worlds on it.
Yeah.
And that kind of question followed us for 10 years, and now we started Standout with that exact vision of like, how can we source coffees that we think can end up in the World Championships finals. And that's something that we believe in, and got proven by Agnieszka when she won Coffee and Good Spirits. She used the mocha, and I think Sudaname as well for one of her drinks. And then looking at Ian in UK, or people who have been competing with our coffees for a long time now, and it's just a vision. I know all of our coffees won't end up, but still it's a great way for us when we buy coffee. Like, is this competition compatible? And that's I don't know.
I think you're into something when you and Lance were talking about, that the producer are actually the star, and of course the roasters as well. But I think we forget the producers, because we all have this coffee. I have bought it from this coffee shop or from this roastery, but you forget the producer, because the producer's story are really interesting.
Yeah.
I would actually like to do more from the producing side on Café Sverige.
But there's so many producers now. When I did an Instagram post yesterday with our like current lineup of specialty coffees, and we could tag like every single producer, and all of them reposted it.
Yeah.
So it just click Instagram Live and you're there. And I know Alexander is talking a lot about it. He went to Pascal when they bought our coffee 2-3 months ago, and he just filmed in the shop, and he tagged every single producer. And I think it's so cool to be able to connect, and that's also part of what you do and what we do, kind of being part of the coffee community in one way or another. But now when all the producers are growing up, their kids are growing up, keep working the farm, they get like accessibility as everyone else to internet in a better way, and to be able to connect all the dots. I think it's super, super interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You talk about the processing of the coffee as well. Sometimes I can miss this really clean washed coffee that we used to have.
I know.
But of course, it's really interesting with all these new processes as well.
Yeah, and we were really heavy on anaerobic stuff last year, like anaerobic naturals. And Alexander was like, one day he was like, no, we need to chill down. So I think in general we find a lot of good anaerobic washed coffees now. Yeah. That's kind of, but that's how. I think that top 10 in the World Barista Championships the last 10 years, or I don't know. I don't know how many washed coffees has been up there.
Patrick
last year.
April. Last year.
That's one.
And all his speech was about take back the washed coffee.
But that's 1 out of 100. I don't know the numbers,
But I think it's a lot of
it's
not washed coffees.
Yes, and I don't know. That's how the scene looks right now. We're part of it, and but yeah, I think it goes back to my time at Johan Nyström when we released the Guji or Gideo. I don't know what the name from the beginning, or Shakiso, the old stuff, or the Arisha, the Ethiopian stuff that were for the first time really, really processed. And for a customer coming into the specialty coffee world, it's really hard to convince them with a washed coffee, because they pay more for something that most cases tastes less, and it's really hard to put words on what they taste. But if you give them instead a high elevated natural coffee, they pay a lot, or way more than they used to. It tastes more. And also you can say like, do you feel the cherries? And they're like, oh yeah. And they're like, yeah, I'm down to specialty. And then you can introduce them to, so you start with the heavy drugs and then you go backwards instead of like, here's some cigarettes, and then you end up with crack.
Cigars, do you remember the last cup you had that was really, or the first cup you had that was really, oh wow?
Yeah, I used to come back to Café Grancha. 2013, we bought 24 kilos or 12 of the Cerro Azul, the washed one. And it was my first like mind-blowing geisha experience. It was washed. It was like a bouquet of flowers. It had crystal clear acidity, and all this like lemon, bergamot, like the true for me geisha flavors. I think that was the first real competition grade coffee that we roasted, and I competed with it. I won, because that year when I won, I had natural Ruby or Percy from 90 plus, super fermented, and I also had a washed Cerro Azul from Café Grancha. And in the semifinals, or in my routine, I had the judges, because it was really a big controversy of natural out of really good coffees. So I had the judges vote on stage if I should do my routine with a washed geisha or a natural geisha. And in the semifinals, they all voted 4-1 for washed. And in the finals, they, of course, had been talking. So they voted 4-1 versus natural. And it ended up me winning, which was super proud of. And and then we have the first espresso. Alexander gave me a coffee bar called Konstig in Sweden, like my first eye-opening experience. The reason kind of we ever started Drop Coffee was that he was like, here's a Colombian coffee, single espresso. Every espresso back then cost 10 kroners, but this cost 48 or 46 or something. And it was like, what is this? It's a single farm. And for me, it was like, okay, we need to do something of this.
It's so cool with all the different coffees, and when you really get this wow factor as well. You know, you get some maybe twice a year nowadays, but still when they come,
because you're getting really picky. Sometimes you need to take a step back and realize like, hey, there's so much good coffees here, but if you have access to all of them, of course there's cherries in the cake that you can pick out. So what's your first ever?
Actually, my first specialty coffee experience was at Lilla Kaffrosteriet down in Malmö. So I just went in to have a coffee with milk that I usually had, and I tasted it with milk, and I went, oh, wait a minute, this is something different. And then I asked for a refill without the milk, and I went, wow, is this the way that coffee would taste? Cool. So it was just a Brazilian coffee with some chocolate and nutty flavors, so it wasn't that special. For me now, but
probably no like deep bitterness and
it was so crazy. It was no bitterness, and it was so smooth.
That's super cool.
So but then, but I remember I used to have Standout Coffee.
Yeah, you were really early. You said
yeah.
me. Like
Yeah,
you bought Standout before we even started Standout as a company, and before I started.
Yeah. So Alexander let me buy some small batches, and then I did like, here we got 15 cups of this coffee, and then I had a coffee with a flavor note of I think it was rombrösing, or romerska bågar, and I couldn't get around that in my head because I don't like it. So it was so hard to have a coffee that I knew was really, really good and not be able to drink it because I couldn't come around
like
it. Yeah.
Deep raisins, chocolate and orange, cash-ish.
Yeah.
Probably quite high fermented.
Yeah,
getting
so I had, and everybody else was, this is so wonderful. Yeah. And I was, I don't like this.
That's Standout Coffee.
Yeah.
You tried once and you're like, this was an experience.
Yeah, but I remember, the first 3 coffees I got was so beautiful. Yeah. I don't remember the farms.
No.
I think it was Hartman,
Yeah, we were heavy on Hartman and 90 plus in the beginning.
Yeah, and 90 plus, I think.
It's the Rocky Mountain, I think we had for a long time from Hartman.
Yeah, so it was so cool. And then I used to have a coffee club. I kept on with a subscription and had like a coffee club in my coffee shop.
Yeah, because you had 3 boxes for a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so we used that we took all the regulars who wanted to be, and then we just brewed the coffee and drank it and talked about the coffee and the farm. Yeah. So it was really,
that's
really cool. Yeah.
I wouldn't do that too. It would be nice to have like this coffee.
Are you going to keep on doing the thing that you did during the spring?
The open service?
Yeah, the open service.
Not at the moment, I think. Right now we are a little bit high on the production side.
Yeah.
And Fridays we need to produce as well.
Yeah.
Today's Friday, but there was a lot of stuff going into it around it, like pre-open, after opening, and we are in a location that is non-existing in Stockholm. It's like far, kind of down in the harbor. So it was great. It was a great experience, and we learned so much from the open service tastings. And we get the question now every then. I think when we open, if we open like anything one day, I think it's going to be on the foundation of what we did this spring. Because getting people here from all corners of the world, like sit down, here's the menu, you can have this experience, this chat. I think it was super cool. But right now the roastery is shrinking because we're getting more and more coffee. We have a second roaster now, and soon we have a huge announcement that will also take up space in here. Not at the moment, but what we did with Lance yesterday is we realized afterwards, we went out for dinner and we were like, we never had an open Standout cupping. Yeah. So I think that is probably going to be the next step to have I shouldn't say any time, but once in a while we go out and say, so everyone's welcome down to Frihamnen for an open competition style coffee tasting. Just hang around. You can get some beer from the brewery and just have a good time. Eat before you come. But soon the restaurant opens, so maybe that could be something like we bring people here around 6:00. We have a nice cupping for 1.5 hours. We have a beer, and then everyone goes into the restaurant. That would be perfect. Yeah, because I was about to die around 8:30 yesterday.
You have a really cool spot here.
Yes.
Tell me more about the space you are in.
So, fun fact is that I met Niklas, who was owning the circus before, way back at Drop Coffee times when I had Drop Coffee, and then our roads kind of crossed 2 years ago. We had Standout headquarters in Hammarby Sjöstad, and I was like, "Man, Niklas, do you have a space for us? I need my own roastery." And he said, "Yeah, I have. It's kind of filled up with junk right now, but it's down in Frihamnen." And I was like, "Oh my God, I live in Lidingö, and it's like 5 minutes from here. It doesn't matter." And he said it was actually planned for the roastery of Drop Coffee, which is a cool story. Yeah. Kind of close the circle. Then they had behind you, there's this huge wall with a big ventilation thing in it. So the space was supposed to be like 50 square meters more.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of 80. I think it was 140 or something. And when it shrunk due to the ventilation installation for the whole building, I think, I don't know, but Drop Coffee moved to where they are right now, the Rosersberg. So this room just got filled up with stuff.
Like empty rooms too?
Yeah, like from the restaurant, there was just a mess in here. But we got hold of the contract and we cleaned everything out. And I think it's a beautiful space.
Yeah,
close to the water.
And then the restaurant and the brewery as well.
Yes, because the really big cool space stuff. Is Stockholm Brewing Company, which is an amazing brewery. They now changed ownership, so there's new blood coming in. They do a lot of good beers, some experimental stuff, but they have, I think, 5 or 6 beers on the rotation at Systembolaget, like with their their IPAs, Östermalms Folkpils, Italo Pils, which is a great beer. And some other stuff, and then they do like single brew stuff, like, I don't know, 10, 12 times a year, because the brewers are great and they make a lot of experimental stuff as well. So being part of like roasting coffee, brewing beer, and soon again they're gonna open up the restaurant. It's a really, really exciting place to be in. And when we bring clients, like wholesale clients here, we can bring them out for a short beer tour. When they bring clients, or they can bring them in, oh, these guys won the worlds, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, whoa. So I think we're gonna, now after like summer, this is really gonna take off, I think. Yeah. Sad part is that, as I said, the room is shrinking. We get more stuff in. So, but yeah, see how long. I hope we can stay. Yeah. I hope we can stay. And one part of me is like, I hope we can stay, because then we have outgrown it. So we will see. But the space is really, really inspiring.
Yeah, inspiring. I always used to ask my guests to give some advice for people that are new into coffee. Yeah. But I'm going to change the question this time, because you are working with, really, really high quality competition style coffee. How should a roaster that want to go into the competition style coffee, do you have any advice for them? Because we have some small, really good roasteries in Sweden now that maybe want to take the step.
Yeah. I think the number one thing is to dare to charge.
Yeah.
Because I had an interesting conversation with a super nice young barista who were here, who opens up a bar in Linköping now, called Natural, I think, Natural something. It's gonna be. I just saw some things on Instagram yesterday, and it looked dope. And he was like, "Oh, maybe because I think he's up with a roastery somewhere in that area, but maybe gonna do us at pour over."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, but should I charge the same?" Or I was like, "No, charge 10 times more, because that's a lot, but not 10 times more." But I think it's important if you sell a V60 of this quality. I think the client want to pay more, because that's part of the experience. They go in and they're like, "Oh, one filter for 40," and then they're like, "A filter for 149. What's happening here?" And it's like, "Oh, it's this amazing roastery from Stockholm or from New York or whatever. It's the geisha variety. Okay, tell me more." And then they're like, usually ends up like, "Okay, thank you. Not for me now, but I have this super, super geeky coffee friend at work. We will come." And they come and they pay 149 for this V60, split it on 2, and they get this experience that is like above this world. And I think the same thing is if roasteries is going to tap into competition style coffees, you need to because I think a lot of people is giving away the coffee almost for free, because they're like, "This is just we just bought one box, so never mind." But that's not how you build business. So I think there to put your margins on this, and it will give you a price. And don't be afraid, because it's people want to, and they want to support you as well. I think you did the same thing. You had this nice story of bringing in ours or some other coffees, and you said like, okay, I have 100 grams. That's equal to 6 V60 brews.
Yeah.
So this coffee, it only exists 6 brews. Do you want to buy it for 100 kroners? Or do you want the regular stuff for 50?
Yeah.
And people are like, of course, if there's only 6, I go for it. And the experience is more than twice as good.
Yeah, I remember this woman who came for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of the first time. The second time I did the exclusive amount of cups. And she went, yeah, of course I'm going to have that one. She wasn't sold on specialty coffee totally, but she came
but still, it's
now
a
and then.
super nice experience. And I know that Aldrin and Amanda in A43 in Gothenburg started doing the same thing now. So they had this small sign on the counter says, oh, we have this specialty super limited thing today. It only exists 15 cups.
Yeah.
And it like first 15 customers were like, check.
Yeah, I think we need to start talking about the specialty coffee more like a beverage, not as coffee, because people here in Sweden has this perception about coffee that is supposed to be really dark and bitter. And if you try specialty coffee and you think you're going to get this really dark and bitter cup, then you're going to be it's going to be so wrong in your head. So if you talk about the beverage, or was it good or wasn't it good? Instead of this is coffee. Try a new coffee.
And also, if you brew it there, to brew it a little bit stronger.
Yeah,
because there's Lance from Say, who was here, and he brews his coffee super strong. And I think he has a point in that. We also brew our coffee stronger than most specialty coffee roasteries, because I think there's so many clients that get disappointed of paying more. We talked about it, and then it tastes less. It's just a mess. Then, of course, you should brew it good. But I think if you're gonna start doing these kind of coffees in your shop, if you have like a TDS meter or something, push the extractions up a bit. We have our double bloom recipe, and if you hit that on around 245 in total brew time, your extraction will be around 140 with our coffees. So try that out, and I like it. I know that my strength of coffee has gone equally with my age. So when I was 25, I brewed at 125, and now I'm 40, so I'm 140.
You're pushing it?
Yeah. So see, when I'm 80, I'm going to do super strong brews. So
my God.
Yeah.
Just only espresso. One last question. What do you think about the future for the coffee industry? What do you see it's next in the coffee industry? Which kind of coffee do you see we drinking during next year?
In general, I think, and I hope that we will see this 1% go up to 2%, because that will make a huge impact on the coffee industry. Talking about how much specialty coffee is sold. I may be wrong on the numbers, but I think more and more people will tap into this, and even see like Espresso House in Sweden doing only specialty now, and more and more actors getting there, and that is also pushing farmers into actually growing more quality. We see so much experimental stuff at Standout now, and it's just popping up all over. There is a little bit scary now, because more and more people are tapping into infused coffees. There's rumors of the worlds that people are using infused coffees even in like high up in the score lists, and judges can't prove it. Now some roasteries are, I know that Black and White in the States just launched their new category, that they are totally honest with it. They're like, this is the Irish coffee, and it's infused, I think, at the farms. It's not flavored, it's infused during process, I think. So, but we get samples in now that are like, this is probably infused with like lemongrass or whatever, but it doesn't really say. So I think that is kind of scary when producers are pushing the limits, because we need to know what we are doing, because it slips through, and we sell it as a super unique coffee that tastes lemongrass. and it's actually flavored. So I think that is something to be aware of, because it's in our world it's not allowed in the worlds. We had one competition release last year where we released an infused coffee, the mandarin peel thing, and we were turning it around and saying this is not allowed to use in competitions. We just want to showcase how it is. It was amazing. Tasted super good.
I think as long as you are transparent with what you do, then you can try. Then you can do it.
Yeah. So I think we will see more of that, and it's going to be a challenge because it also takes from like Sudarme and the stuff that we drink that actually is what it is. It's but otherwise I really hope that more and more people will kind of sign up for subscriptions, try more coffees, broaden their line. Hope that the coffee community could grow even stronger. Thanks to you and thanks to what we do and everyone. It's maybe a broad answer, but we see a lot of funny processings and great experimental stuff going on, which we will keep on working with. And also like new varieties popping up on new places, and so I think there's a bright future for specialty coffee.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think we need some lunch. Something. I don't have any, but we'll fix it somehow.
We'll fix it somehow. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for you hosting as well, because this is also your podcast episode. Once again, where do we find you on the internet?
You find me easiest way is to find me at Instagram at Alpstedt or at Kaffe Sverige, and we have our YouTube channel that's our Kaffe Sverige as well. Yeah,
cool. And we can link everything.
Yeah.
And as always, you find us at Standout Coffee on YouTube and Instagram. Please subscribe for all of our channels and yours, because it helps everyone to get out there. Please comment. It's good.
And share.
And
like.
Yes.
Thumbs up.
It's so cheeky, you would say, but it means a lot. And to grow on it's hard to grow on a new channel.
Yeah.
For us, being semi-big on Instagram was one thing. To reach, 7,000 or 8,000 followers, whatever, it's just a number. But to go from 0 to 1 on YouTube, that was like, please, mother, can you subscribe to our channel?
It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if we just push content up there and get more and more people aware, it will help everyone grow.
With all of the different social media, you have to do content that are meant for that platform. And I think that's one of the most important things that everybody forgets. Like I talk about Christian coming to talk about leadership. This is the same thing. Yeah, we do the same because we don't have the time.
No, that's true. Yeah. You should sit where you sit. I'm gonna take the camera and take a nice photo of you.
Yeah.
So, thanks.